What's up, everybody? Paulie malignaggi of Paulie TV, LAX Airport edition of Paulie TV. So tonight we got a big card in New York, a big female card, maybe the biggest female card in the history of boxing, headlined by two terrific fighters in Serrano and Katie Taylor. I think this card has been a long time coming as far as female boxing is concerned. We've seen the growth of female boxing and a level of quality, and bit by bit it's going in that entertaining direction as well. I will say that I think you needed a rivalry like this in order to really create this kind of dynamic. We've seen some really good fighters in the women's divisions through the years, and there's more, and they're becoming more and more commonplace. I still don't think every weight class is full of very good fighters yet, but what I'm saying is I see more fighters among the females that I rate now more than I did before, so there's more and more of a talent pool that's growing more and more in the female divisions. And that's why you can at this point have a card like this. But you needed a card like this, and you needed those kind of stars to fight one another. And that's why I've always I've said in the past, I think female boxing could have probably been given this push many years ago when Layla Ali and Wolf, if they would have fought. Layla just didn't want to fight Ann Wolf, and I can remember specifically HBO said they'll put women at the time. HBO and Showtime were the main TV broadcasters of boxing in the U.S., and I can remember them saying that they would have put women's boxing on at that time. Layla just has to fight Ann Wolf, and once that door would have been open, it would have been open back then, and it would have this precedent would have been set already decades ago. But instead of taking these couple of decades, and for this current generation, this past generation, Michaela Mayers, the Sinistro Estradas, the Amanda Serranos, Katie Taylors, Alicia Baumgartner, so on and so forth. It's taken these girls to sort of take it to that next level. So I do think Layla not fighting Ann Wolf set women's boxing back, but I think at this point it's finally getting to where I think it wants to be. Let's talk about the fight. Two very close fights, two very close wins for Katie Taylor against Amanda Serrano. I think both fights could have probably went both ways. You have an argument for each girl in both fights. And if you think Amanda won both fights, it's not like the end of the world. I think there's probably people that think Amanda won both fights, and there's people that will think Katie won both fights, and there's people that might be split between the two. Either way, I think it's a solid third fight. I think they're past their prime at this point. But remember, a lot of times fighters that are past their prime, when they continue a rivalry, they can sometimes be even more entertaining. And I tell you what, they were already entertaining in the first two fights they fought each other. So if they give us an entertaining third fight tonight, I think it's going to be amazing, and it'll top off a really good card. I think some adjustments that need to be made. One thing Taylor Neal knows how to do, even if she may not look like she's winning the rounds, she knows how to sort of give you the illusion that she's winning the round. She throws these little flurries. She jumps in, uses her head, and a lot of times what I noticed about Serrano, it caused the head of Taylor caused her to back up. It caused her to back up, and because she's trying to avoid the headbutts, and then you sort of get in the path of that little flurry, which may not be crazily damaging, but it gets the crowd going. So again, Taylor kind of knows how to sort of win rounds, steal rounds in that way. She has that quick flash style, while Serrano's more like charging at you and looking to break you down. And I think Serrano probably has to steal some stuff off Taylor in that moment, or at least not let Taylor have those stealing moments. Because I think those key moments have been the difference in the fights and getting the decisions in the rivalry between them. And I think Serrano has to be careful with that. And I think one of the ways that you are careful with that is you don't stop stalking so squared up. I think Serrano stalking so squared up puts her in the path of getting headbutted. Also cutting off the ring. Serrano making adjustments, cutting off the ring instead of trying to chase Taylor down and giving Taylor the space to sort of escape and then pop in when she wants to, and then sort of escape and pop in when she wants to. If you cut somebody off, they're going to have less escape paths, and they're going to have less options to do what they want to do. For Taylor, I think she just has to, again, find those moments where she can steal those rounds. I think the consistency is on the side of Serrano each and every round, but I think it's Taylor's understanding and ring generalship of knowing how to steal the moments that allows her to win the fights. And I think she's gonna need to be able to do that. At this age, she's gonna have that kind of energy. Also for Serrano, at this age, she's gonna have the energy to keep pushing Taylor around the way she wants to, and the way we've seen in her best moments. So a good fight. A couple other good fights on the card. Alicia Baumgartner takes on Alicia, not a lot of knockouts in women's boxing, but if you guys watch my other podcast with Tommy Reynolds and Big Fight Forecast, We were talking about Baumgartner. Baumgartner may get a stoppage this fight, you know, and not a lot of stoppages in women's boxing, but we were looking at this fight. So that's a stoppage win for Baumgartner. I forgot the girl's name. She was fighting. But definitely check out my other podcast with Tom Reynolds. We talk about gambling bets and just gambling odds and whatnot, and the different methods that we, you know, there are ways to approach gambling in boxing. But yeah, I think Baumgartner may be able to make a statement here in this fight. This girl Courtney's really been impressive. I've been hearing a lot about her, so I'm curious to see how she looks tonight as well. And of course, Savannah Marshall, in a pretty tough fight as well, actually. So, you know, it's a good card overall. Good for women's boxing, good to push women's boxing. Obviously, you need the fights to live up to it. Sometimes on paper they look good, and then in reality they don't live up to it. But the women have tended to put on when they match up. The women tend to fight each other much more often than the guys. The guys a lot of times tiptoe around each other, and some fights don't get made. With the women, because there's less options to make a lot of money, they are fighting each other a lot. So let's see if these fights can live up to the hype. And honestly, if Serrano wins, who you've got, first of all? Who do you think wins tonight, Serrano or Taylor? And if Serrano wins, do they make a fourth fight? Does it become the Vasquez and Marquez rivalry of the females, when you get 4 fights out of it, or the Marquez and Pacquiao rivalry, the brother Marquez and Pacquiao rivalry, where you get 4 fights out of it? You can possibly end up getting that. Hold on, this airport is ridiculous. You got whistles going off over here. You got the loudspeaker going on. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think. I think if Serrano wins, a fourth fight wouldn't be out of the question. I know they're a little bit past their prime, but it's still, nonetheless, it would create a curiosity and of course an entertainment factor. But I'm Paulie malignaggi. This is Paulie TV, guys. I'll see you after the fight, and I'll do a preview of tomorrow's Riyadh season card in New York as well. Take it easy.